Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and today we have some Theros Beyond Death preview cards to take a look at, 2 Planeswalkers, and the Buy a Box promo, actually. We're also going to look at some basic lands, and at the end of the video, there were a couple other Judge promos revealed that we're going to talk about too. Quick reminder before we get started, though, if you go over to FlipsideGaming.com, you can save yourself a little cash with that Heroes promo code on orders over $10, and support the channel at the same time, which is always appreciated. So thank you, and without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, let's begin with Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. On the left, you see the regular copy. On the right, you see the borderless copy. Now, this was leaked a few weeks back, so if you're following leaks, you might be already pretty familiar with this card, but we're going to talk about it officially today since it was previewed by GameSpot, as well as the next couple cards we're going to look at. Now, this is going to cost you 2 white and 2. It's a legendary Planeswalker Elspeth, Mythic Rare, 5 loyalty. -1, up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+1 until end of turn. -2, create 2/1/1 human soldier creature tokens. -3, you gain 5 life. Also, it has the escape mechanic. 2 white and 4. Exile 4 other creatures from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for the escape cost. When this was leaked originally, a lot of people said the card felt pretty weak for casting cost Planeswalker that can only dial down. However, I think there's actually some power here, and you do not want to discount this card. Forecasting cost for 5 loyalty is pretty good, even if it is ticking down. Let's say it ticks down 1, now you have a 4 loyalty Planeswalker for 4. Still pretty solid. And up to 2 target creatures you control got +2/+1 until end of turn. That's bringing 4/2 power toughness on the battlefield till end of turn. That's pretty good depending on board state. Obviously, this is going to play better with some evasive creatures or first strike or something like that, but there is no lack of that going on right now in the standard environment, so I think this has potential just because of that. Now, if I don't have creatures, this card isn't quite as good in some ways, but I can still -2 to get myself a couple creatures. So that's going to give me +2/+2 power toughness on the battlefield in the form of 2/1/1s. Actually not bad, although you are taking it down 2 to do that. The -3, not too impressive. I mean, sometimes it will come in handy, I'm sure, but taking 3 loyalty for 5 life doesn't feel great to me. Now, what really pushes this card, though, is the escape part here. Now, granted, you can't use that in all board states, but whenever you can, especially in a longer game, that persistence could really be annoying. I think this actually does see standard play. Obviously, it's going to be a limited bomb, too, if you're lucky enough to open it for draft or sealed. Here's the second Planeswalker, Ashiok Nightmare Muse, and you're going to see on the left the regular copy again, and on the right the borderless copy. This one's going to cost you a black, blue, and 3 legendary Planeswalker, Ashiok, Mythic Rare, 5 loyalty. +1, create a 2/3 blue-black Nightmare creature token with. Whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. -3, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and then that player exiles a card from their hand. -7, you may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponents control from exile without paying their mana costs. Alright, so again, you're getting a lot of loyalty here. Now, this one's a little more expensive at 5, and it does cost 2 different colors, but still, 5 loyalty, +1, you got 6 loyalty right off the bat, plus a blocker? That does not feel bad at all. And the longer this is on the battlefield, the more your opponent has to find an answer, because as time goes on and you start creating these 2/3s, they start milling the top cards of their deck into exile. And then at some point, it doesn't take long to get to the -7. Granted, it is a little high variance because it just depends on what you were able to exile. But eventually, you're going to hit something good, and that could really turn the tables very fast, even if you're behind. So I think this is a card that, again, is going to see standard play. I feel like the power level's there for 5 mana. And again, if you're lucky enough to get this in a game of draft or sealed, it's going to be phenomenal. I also like the fact that the -7 does say all opponents, so if you're playing a multiplayer game like Commander, it does add a lot of flexibility. I also like the fact that the first and last abilities say all opponents for added flexibility in multiplayer games like Commander. Speaking of Commander, here's Theros, Shroud Veiled. It's the buy box promo, and I think this is going to be a good Commander. It's going to cost you a black, white, and 4 for 4/7 legendary enchantment creature god mythic rare indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, this isn't a creature. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. For the casting cost, I do think this is a little too dependent on board state for this to be a great standard card or anything like that, unless there's some sort of niche build that wants this. We saw that in this past season with Kenrith. Turns out that card's pretty good with Fires of Invention, right? But I think for the most part, this is going to be a fine commander card, and I could see myself wanting to build around this. Maybe this is my commander and I just have all removal spells and I'm just taking everybody else's creatures. Could be a lot of fun to try, right? So I do think you'll see a lot of commander players, brawl players trying to pick this one up for sure. They also showed us the basic lands. These have been previously leaked before, so again, you might have seen these, but here's what they look like. Very unique lands. And they did say 1 per pack, so it sounds like it's not a situation where you're going to get one of these in every 4 packs or something like that, and your other packs are going to be normal basic lands. It seems like these are going to be the actual lands of the set. Okay, so we're going to shift gears now and talk a little bit about Judge promos. We saw some a couple days back, and we got to see a couple more. Now, the ones we're looking at today are convention promos, is what they said, so if you're a judge and you're able to make it to one of the judge conventions, then you have a chance of getting your hands on these cards. First, we have Arena Rector. So much like the cards we saw last week, it is a tutor, so they are continuing that trend into the previews this week. And also, we're seeing the watermark and the set symbol, which represents an owl, and they did say all the judge promos for 2020 will look like that. Some people like it, some people don't. I suppose that's a matter of preference. But the card itself, pretty cool reprint, brand new art on it. And the next card is also a reprint that has never been reprinted, but it actually is a much older card. That's Sylvan Tudor, so this is from Portal originally. And if you want a Portal copy, I mean, they're going to run you $50, $55 in high grades. So this is a nice judge incentive overall. With that being said, usually judge promos don't bring down the price of the older variations of the card all that much, if any, just because there's not that many copies that are released of these. Now, if you do want to pick one of these up in the secondary market, you should have the opportunity to do so, but typically you do have to pay a premium for judge promos. Alright, so that wraps up our look at Theros and a couple of the judge preview cards. Hey, until next time, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.